Hello everyone, welcome to Cerebral Arcade. I'm Stacy and I have, oh my gosh, hi. Somebody else wants to be on stream today. And today we're going to be finishing, or at least starting Act 5 of Kentucky Route Zero, which is such a long time coming. How is everybody in chat doing? Oh my gosh, Farah, seriously. Okay, thank you, thank you. Um, Yeah, how is everybody? I see a bunch of folks. It's good to see you all. Kentucky Route Zero, I was mentioning the other day, is the first thing that I streamed on Cerebral Arcade. It was actually the game that bridged the work I was doing on Scholars Play, and I continued playing Kentucky Route Zero as my start to Cerebral Arcade. So it's a long time coming. Hello, Jeffrey Lindsay. Welcome. Great to see you. How's your evening going? Yeah, I apologize for the late start today. It's been such a day. I like it's no like one thing. It's the same thing I was talking about yesterday where it's like one thing after another. Um, but yeah, I am really excited for this game though. I do find myself a little bit though, which I had the same thing with Act 4. It's been so long since I played the other acts that I'm really hoping they're gonna do a fair bit of, hey, remember what's going on? Because I do vaguely remember what's going on, but it's been a little while. You're good. Got a sandwich and a cocktail. Excellent. Excellent. That sounds like a lovely evening. Yeah, I am not drinking tonight. I have a lovely soda water, so my hydrate and my cheers are going to be the same. But cheers, Jeffrey. I hope your evening is going great. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it up and get started, and I guess I'll just hang out with Monster here, and there'll just be ears at the bottom of my screen, sniffing around the microphone. Okay, so I got really nervous. I downloaded the file, which had completely changed since the last time I played, and I was really nervous that I was gonna have to play through the whole game again. But it's been really fortunate. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. But it's been really fortunate that they have this super cool and very polished interface that was not the same as it was the last time I played, where they have this very cool kind of like divination wheel where it turns the whole screen. It's so cool. So we're gonna go ahead and hop on to Act 5 and jump on in. Jeffrey, did you get a chance to check out the other streams of this, or have you already seen it? Have you already played this game? I forget. Town. Started listening to the old VOZ, but wasn't really following along with what was happening. Why can't you fast forward this video? Oh no, Game and Run, welcome. Yeah, so an interesting thing, Jeffrey, is I feel like Kentucky Route Zero for me so far has not really been uh it's not really been plot driven exactly. Um and it's only kind of been character driven. Okay. Wow. So bold move. Very first thing in the game is a choice. so that's a super interesting move because coming in we have no framing for this, and yeah, so it really makes it kind of purely a roleplay moment with zero framing. Um, for me, though, Kentucky Route Zero so far has really been about world building, ambiance, just kind of general vibe. you get some themes going through things, and there have been a ton of allusions to the history of interactive fiction, to the history of hypertext theory, which I was surprised about. Definitely lots of literary and theatrical references. So many that I'm positive I'm not getting anywhere close to all of them. But for me, this is a game that the parts coming together as a whole to create interesting mood, interesting world building, all of that really is upstaging, the plot or the characters, for me personally. So, yeah, let's say just give me a minute. Clara says, how does it all fit in that truck? Or I'm afraid you carried more than your share. And so, yeah, and because this is a super interesting moment where it just gave us two options back to back from different choices. So, what that's doing is it's not forcing us to identify just with Shannon, because it's then also asking us to make a choice for Clara. And where normally choices are used to create a closeness or sometimes a distance, but usually a closeness between the player character that the player is selecting for and the player as the person experiencing it. Um, it it the Kentucky Road Zero so far has kind of leaned into such a theatrical presentation of a game that even little things like this to me feel like they're really making a statement about what uh you know what the player's role in this is, because you're not so much role playing an individual character as you are role playing the director of a theatrical production, which is like a really interesting shift. Okay, let's say I'm afraid you carried more than your share. Nah, I'm used to it. They're pretty heavy too, or it's so bright, and we're just going back and forth. Wow, this is wild. Okay, okay. How are you holding up? I almost forgot about daylight. Haha. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. I wonder if just everything is going to be a choice here. Yeah, it's a beautiful morning. Tired, but yeah. And then this is super interesting because like this feels like a tangible difference. Do we want Clara to be a little more positive or a little less positive here? Right, and same thing. Uh, do we want to give Clara the moment where she can be positive, or do we want Shannon to just interrupt with negativity? What an interesting choice. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, like effectively, we as the player right now are role playing the playwright. That's really interesting. All right, I think it rained. It's like we're making our own story rather than exploring a story that already exists. Exactly, exactly. Okay. And what's interesting too is it's really not leading us at all. It's very much leaving it open to the player to take this scene kind of in whichever direction calls out to them. It's certainly not suggesting one over the other, which is really, really interesting. But in a chaotic way, kind of like improv. That's a really good observation, Jeffrey. Yeah. Uh, the worms are going to stop for sure, or may I use your phone, Miss Shannon? And the interesting thing too is it also feels like there's a lot that it's giving us in the choices that we're not making too. Like as a player, it's almost like I'm clicking through choices, but the first couple were sort of exploratory actions. But once I find myself starting to commit to a path, like, oh no, I don't want Clara to be overly Pollyanna-ish in her optimism, but I also don't want Shannon to be overly negative. Uh, and it's like once I start committing to that, then I've made that choice and I want to continue to lean into that. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm curious how the game's going to respond to that. And then Ezra, who I believe was the kid, if I remember correctly, says the worms are going to be out for sure, or may I use your phone, Miss Shannon? Well, sure, I'm curious about the phone. Oh, yeah, yeah. Who you calling? I don't really, I mean, I want to know, but I don't want to be nosy about it. All right, yeah, um, yeah, oh, that's so interesting. This is so cool. Okay, um, yeah, I thought you might have some games on there. Oh man, yeah, and then this. So what's interesting is that in previous chapters anyway, there really weren't branches for the dialogue choices, at least not that were obvious or that I recall very strongly. Like it really felt like it was kind of just allowing me as a player to explore my way through a story. Um, yeah. We started off as a guy who was trying to deliver something to 5 Dogwood Drive, and this whole game has been just wild interruption one after another trying to get there, up to and including that character losing a leg or like having a leg be injured, and then that leg was sort of converted into a skeletal prosthetic that then the whole character was converted into skeletal prosthetic, and there was kind of this whole uh being sort of trapped into slavery angle, like yeah, working off your debt, wage slavery kind of thing. And so yeah, there is a part of me that's like, God, and in the process we passed off the delivery truck to Shannon. And so I'm like, okay. And yeah, what's interesting is that these are functionally the same thing, right? Which is we want to start heading toward the destination now, but it's kind of like, which character do we want to be the one that's saying that? And it's kind of reminding me as a player that that's what we're doing with these couple of lines. So yeah, super super interesting. Okay, yeah. So where is 5 Dogwood Drive? Uh, and then yeah, functionally these are the same as well, right? Like the party is going to split up now. It's just a matter of whether we want the kid to be the one saying I'll go scout, or whether we want Shannon to be the one suggesting it. Which yeah, what's interesting is that to me none of these are suggesting so self-evident of a role play direction that I feel myself really wanting to stick in one direction or another. Is this the character creation of this game? Yeah, kind of. I mean, in as much as I don't think that anything is being reflected, in the game state, for example. Like, I don't think there's any sort of systemic change that's happening as a result of these changes. But what it is doing is sort of allowing the player to, cement some aspect in their mind of what these characters might be. Okay. Yeah, Clara's a strange one. Okay. Holler if you find anything. Okay. So I clicked on the cat immediately, as you do. Oh my gosh! And now we're controlling the cat. I don't know if that would have been true if we'd clicked on something else. I think we just are the cat. That's pretty great. Also, this is a lot smoother of camera movement than I remember previously. Ron says that's a damn shame. That's what you call it. Oh no! What is it? Just stressed me out. Ron says to the cat, well, what do you know anyway? Now I'm kind of interested in that idea of a game where you do the character creation through narration like that. Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I think like the opening of Firewatch, for example, had a bit of that. But again, I'm not sure that systemically changed anything, but it did definitely set up the framing of the story and how you felt about it. Yeah. So one thing I've talked about in my previous streams of this so much, but I kind of can't get over it every time I play, is that the the visual framing and the camera pans and everything, like it feels like you're watching a stage play in a really interesting way, where it actually changes character stats throughout the game. Right, and like the camera panning like this, like it's framing various things in the shot of the game in a way that is probably, you know, suggesting things to me as the player, but it's also just like really beautifully composed as shots. Okay, I can't see my character now. All right, let's head back down. Some stairs on the side there. Which, yeah, it just does feel like a really sort of beautiful and well structured way to do a modern point and click. Yeah, I just love it too. This game has also really, okay, I guess I can't go in the door. Has sorry, I totally lost my train of thought because I was distracted by just the sort of beautiful zooming in and out. Variance is right. It's a remembrance. Right. Like a monument. Totally. The colors are so muted, makes it feel like a dream or a fading memory. Yeah, that's a really good point too. Yeah, the color palette has been so interesting throughout the game. What's interesting is that so much of it has been so dark and muted that this feels like a very bright scene comparatively. I was missing dialogue. Does that make sense? One thing I also really love is because of the kind of you know, the low poly nature of the graphics and the way they've kind of leaned into that abstraction, there's there's kind of an interesting like universality to it. I kind of love, for example, that there's no faces. The characters are kind of symbolically represented in their thing, which again kind of feels very theatrical. Don't see any clouds. Or yeah, actually like memories as well. Probably rain anyhow. I love it. Just Starlock. Assertive meow. Oh really? Confident meow. He thinks it's gonna rain again tomorrow. Like impressionist art, yeah, that's great. I don't know, man. Animals have a sense for the weather. And so lovely. I mean, for a game that's also been changing point of view a lot, changing what character we control, and now giving us a cat to control. I think, yeah, just like letting us play with the cat, and also having our cursor be this really cute little kind of ghostly dragonfly. It's a really lovely touch. It's just one of those things. It's really lovely. Wanda snoring softly. I'm just kind of exploring right now. I don't really have an agenda. Chill from meow. I did see there was some stuff over on the other side, and a lot of times things that it asks you to look at are advancement, so I'm just kind of looking around at other stuff. Hi, Canteen and Hal. Great to see you. Welcome. Did I play Dark Souls? I did. Yeah, I played a lot of Dark Souls 1, and then I've played less and less of 2 and 3. One is the best, so I think it's okay. Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, that's kind of why 2 really frustrated me. I wrote about it in my dissertation, actually. Frustrated me not in the way of Dark Souls is hard and so it's frustrating, but it frustrated me in the way of their anti-farming thing where mobs go away after you kill them a certain number of times. That undermined the experience of wanting a really hard game for me, and so I was very frustrated by that. So yeah, and then after these moments of different back and forth with the dialogue and making choices, then we have this moment which feels so hypertexty. Paints and chalk in the small bag, diary in the large bag, stuffed dog in the small bag, photograph of Chris in the large bag. No, in the small bag, Sandra couldn't decide. Should she keep the photo of her husband or should Alex keep the photo of his father? Right? And so it's like this interesting moment where the narration of this is kind of simultaneously feels very in line with some of the third person literary hypertexts of the 90s, but in a way that integrates some of the things that contemporary hypertexts with Twine do. So, but like each of these things, because they're on nouns, I would expect that clicking on them is going to give us some kind of aside. Like diary, I would expect to maybe take us to excerpts from the diary. Husband or father, these might actually be memories. So I don't know. I'm kind of forming expectations on this screen, and we'll see what happens when we click through. So yeah, let's try diary. She wrapped the diary in a towel before stuffing it into her bag, feeling slightly silly doing it. Right? But now, like, that was inherently a choice. We don't get to see those other things. Frasier had been on a tear collecting all written material as community property lately. Oh, I want to know more about him, but I want to know about what all written material means. Has this game done this before? I want to say yes. There have definitely been, it's gone into different textual modes for sure. And it's done a lot with engaging with the history of hypertext. There was actually a character in Act 3 that very much felt like an homage character to Ted Nelson, and he was building a computer system called Xanadu, which Ted Nelson was the figure in hypertext who coined the term hypertext in a lot of terms that we use in computing today, like microtransaction and things like that. And he's a personality, and he's still around and goes to conferences and things, and yeah, it very much felt like that character was a caricature of him, and the kind of ultimate hypertext system that he had been working on since the 70s or was called Xanadu. So yeah, kind of interesting. Okay, so yeah, let's try all written material. She was sure he couldn't possibly have meant even a personal diary. But was she sure? Yeah. Ooh, let's hear about him. She set everything down, closed her eyes, massaged her temples, and wondered, not for the first time, how Frasier had consolidated so much invisible power so quickly. Ooh. Yeah, and power is such a strong word to be a link there. How had he done it? Had he in fact done anything at all to claim this incredible lattice of influence, or had they simply blindly given it to him? Ah, what a cool moment. And then he disappears. What in the world? What in the world? Yeah, but this game has done a lot with playing with what's real and what's not, and there's been a lot of sort of ghostly figures. Like here, it seems like the path is just kind of disappearing, and the low polyness of the trees is really obfuscating what the actual terrain is right here, which is, yeah, it makes it feel very surreal. but in a way that all feels very stylistic. Okay, I'm gonna head back over to where these other people were over here. Strange dome houses, yeah. Okay. His headstone has no name on it. Who's this here? All I can read is better days. Better days ahead? They put their better days to rest here. Ooh. Yeah. Optimism or pessimism? Oh, let's go with optimism. Better days for whom, though? The one who died or the rest of the town? Or maybe dreaming of better days once more before going into the ground? Clara to the dog. And you, my friend, are you looking for a place to rest? Oh, I don't want to say that to the dog. You disapprove. Okay. Jeez. No, you understand me. The animals too fear death. Or you're right, of course. Back to the road. Okay. Well, I don't want to, like, vaguely threaten the dogs. So let's maybe head back to the road. Interesting. The seer reclined high in a tree, carving fine details into a small wooden pipe. I guess we'll take a look at the tree. She loved this spot, the height, the distance. She was always at a distance, watching everyone work. So, so that was an interesting moment where, so the link was on tree, the anchor, and this is actually a split in some aesthetics from hypertext literature versus hypertext interactive fiction and games, where with Twineworks, for example, link anchors on nouns tend to give more information about that thing, where earlier hypertexts often would have a noun where clicking on that noun would take you to another passage that was involving that noun potentially, or might have some kind of connection to that noun in a different way. And a lot of the pleasure of those early hypertexts was actually in figuring out what the connection was between where you just came from and where you're going, where, you know, from the web and various conventions that we've just accumulated over decades of using the web, we pretty much expect these days that if I click on a tree, and I absolutely had this expectation when I clicked on the tree, I expected to get maybe a description of the tree, or some kind of, like, maybe I don't know, like a more information about what was being carved into it or something like that. And instead, we got something a little bit more like the earlier hypertext things of, here's a memory involving the tree, probably, but it's kind of ambiguous. Like, it's not like it has nothing to do with the tree, right? It's a description about the meaning of the tree. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like, this definitely is a moment where, in terms of hypertext aesthetics, it's kind of like sitting in the middle, which, again, like, this is so small, minute details, but really interesting to a big hypertext geek, and it's really well considered. Okay, she loved the spot, the height, the distance. She was always at a distance, watching everyone work. From this height, she could see the earth movers shaping the mounds under the draftsman's supervision. She could see him inspecting his plan, the drawing he'd made from her game, the map. So interesting. So, yeah, and I feel like a lot of the pleasure of this game so far has been just in these little moments of evocative descriptions, or sort of small evocative story moments. And now this person has also disappeared. There's been a lot of kind of ghostly and ethereal sort of themes and happenings. you know, I mean, these people are literally standing around looking at a graveyard. So yeah, it's interesting. For a lot of the game, it's been, oh, we're in a ghost story. Oh wait, no, maybe we're not. Maybe it's about something else, and ghosts just kind of happen to be there. Um, so yeah, very interesting. Okay, we'll keep going on the path. Can we go through the water? Yes. But I was perfectly prepared for us to not be able to go through the water because cat. Okay. Waffles for any weather. What a great name. Jorge scanned the shelf. He found the book he was looking for. There were only a few dozen left. More shelves than books now. The results of an experiment called the New Selection. Privately, he called it the Purge. Ooh. Okay. Oh gosh. What a choice. Which do we want to click here? I want to know both. Yeah, I guess maybe Purge. But only privately, in small groups of reliable complainers. The unspoken rule was to hold back criticism as long as possible. Experiments needed time to unfold naturally without the interference of doubt. Jorge would have preferred to complain more freely. Huh, okay. Man. Oh, with great sound, too. Um, alright, let's try criticism, I guess. Even the scheduled feedback circle sessions had been losing their teeth lately, he thought, a trend that coincided with Fraser's increasingly central role in the community. Fraser proposed and executed experiments just like any other community member, but his experiments had a scorched earth quality. They were all destructive. He moved from one area of community life to the next in search of excess to cut back. Lately, he'd turned his scythe to the library. The New Selection meant decimating their store of books according to Fraser's own inscrutable criteria. Now we're guaranteed something vital every time we take a book from the shelves. No more time lost to printed chaff. Oof. Yeah, so far this game has felt very critical of capitalism and efficiency and things like that. Fraser's colorless voice echoed in Jorge's mind. He felt like spitting. Instead, he tucked the book under his arm and set off for the woods. Oh. Greeting, meow. I absolutely love the descriptions of our meows. Oh, hi, kitty. Where did you come from, huh? Follow a bird up here? These folks, the one who built this thing, they chase birds too. Built what thing? It's a great question. That's why we just gave an intrigued meow. Really, that's what they wrote. They followed some migrating birds up here from Central America. Somewhere up to Florida. And then here. I love the icons for the meows. It's so good. Well, that's what they wrote anyway. I guess it might have been a metaphor. What is this creepy figure wandering over? So creepy. No. Okay. Alert meow. A lizard darts out from beneath the rock. Cautious meow. Oh, I love it. I love it. No sign of the lizard now. These parrots. And birds of prey of some kind of scavenger birds. Or that thing. Yeah. And that was a brilliant little piece of dialogue too. The people who built it followed the birds, and then, there's birds. So as a player, I'm like, oh, I should follow the birds. I'm so clever. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Creepy wind chimes. The animation on this cat is delightful. Hmm. Okay, so Ezra can ask what kind of fish are those, or Nikki can say they were beautiful animals. Yeah, that one's weird, so let's go with that one. No, I should say they were beautiful souls, or simply that they were our neighbors. They were beautiful souls. And they're free. I should say that they're free. I should focus on their character? Is she writing a eulogy? That's interesting. I should focus on their character, I guess. Gentle, noble, unpredictable. Ooh. Presumably it's about I'm not sure if that was a horse or a cow. I think it was a horse. Let's say noble. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Um, yeah, let's maybe go with this one and see if we can angle toward it being about the day. We're just dropping something off here. Okay. Yeah, and so Ezra is in our little crew. Do you think I should stay here? What a weird question. No, you'll be lonely. Most everyone is leaving now. Or if you want to, I'd be happy to know someone was still living here. What a creepy thing. Yeah. Most everyone is leaving now, I guess. Yeah, so now it feels like we've explored a lot of the town. So I find myself now kind of thinking about just going back and forth between Ezra and, I mean, these creepy things walking around though. So creepy. Oh, we haven't seen this actually. They're just slow walking. They're slow walking and their limbs are really long and they don't have hands. Does anybody have hands? I mean, the other ones are at least wearing clothes and stuff, and they have haircuts and things. That was super cute. 6 or 7 men stood in the sun about a dozen yards from the ditch, and he could hear them laughing. He tried not to hear them. Instead, he listened to the shovel punching through the dirt as he shaped the trench. It was all wet dirt, mud, really. It made a hungry sound as he shaped the trench walls. Ooh, creepy. Okay. Man. Yeah, I guess let's find out about these trenches. Glare from the noon sun made his sinuses tingle. The trench was a foot wide now. By the time he was done, he expected it to be about twice that, and most of the way from the middle of town over to where it could drain off into the creek. Yeah, let's hear about town. The laughter quieted into greedy chuckles. He could feel the men approaching. And yeah, just the way everything kind of zoomed in and darkened and sound design kicked up. Oh, man. Yeah, and then they're all disappearing. Everybody's leaving town. Are there game sounds? Yeah, ambient ones. Are you not hearing them? I can try to turn them up a little. Is any of that coming through? I guess I've heard some meows. Yeah, it's not like there's much going on. It's just, like right now there's bird sound. Do you hear bird sound? Yeah. Okay, that's up quite a bit. I did not hear bird sounds. Okay. Now you do. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just, there've been a few kind of like musical, just like stingers or like held notes. There hasn't been a lot, but if the creepy stingers are too loud to hear me now, let me know. So in general, the format of this game has pretty much just been point and click around to explore an area until we kind of get all of the backstory of that area and interact with all the things we can interact with, and then the game kind of moves us on its own. Slow-mo crow gave us a warm coo. Creepy Stingers is a great name, yeah. That was such a hello in the form of a meow. Ego chittering. I just absolutely love the different shapes of these, sort of representing the general vibe of the meow. Affirmative meow. It took me quite a few of them before I realized it was doing that. Yeah, these ones are definitely more ghostly. And what's interesting, though, is that I feel like it's really zooming in for the first time, enough for us to see how ghostly they are. It's like an interesting, slow reveal situation. Elmo gave Rita a tour of the cameras and wiring. She'd just been through a certificate program on the public broadcasting at the community college, so no surprises there. Nikki showed her the video databank. James demonstrated the Sandin image processor, and then Ron came barreling in with an urgent expression. Ooh, okay. Curious about image processor or the databank? I think the databank. The station had a great collection of videotapes made by local artists, along with a huge library of what looked like home movies. There were tapes about local politics, the weather, video dream diaries. Rita was eager to start contributing her own work. Yeah. Ron's news was clearly bad news. Rita's heart sank a little as they listened. She knew things were unraveling, knew from experience what that looked like. Aww. But as she listened to Ron detail the power company's sudden withdrawal from town affairs, she heard other possibilities. She studied their faces and found concern, for sure, but also something like relief, hope, and awakening of play. Nikki looked like she might have been daydreaming. These were people, Rita decided, ready to step out of the company's shadow and build something of their own. Ron said that the TV station would still be funded by court order. Could that be their anchor? Anchor is such an interesting and loaded word there, like, for a news station. Yeah, so the power company seemed to be the one that was involved in this nefarious scheme to kind of put all of the local workers into like a debt wage situation, and also was involved with the prosthetic limbs maybe. And yeah, like we've kind of just so far gotten a vague sense that the power company's evil. There's definitely something going on with like limb replacement and body horror kind of stuff, and also like wage slavery. I'll have her up and running again by this afternoon, I'm sure. Can I fly it? Well, how's your upper body strength? Oh, that's good. At first, they only observed the truck from the distance. And the figures over here. It was an alien carcass, something that made more sense in death than in life. The company had dropped it off in the middle of the day when everyone was at the plant. They let it sit overnight, alone and strange. So what's interesting is one of the first things that happened was we came into the game and we were driving a truck and trying to make a delivery over to Fat Dogwood Drive. And so, wow, this mention of a truck, I'm like, oh, is this our truck or is this a different truck? And it seems to be ambiguous. Nikki thought it was ridiculous, but Ron approved. To Elmo, the truck was simply beautiful. Um, yeah, let's lean in with Nikki. The town didn't produce much garbage anyway, she said. Who would drive it and where? The locals had turned to gardening when the company's store stopped stocking canned vegetables, so there was very little garbage to be hauled off anymore. Everyone had to agree this was money and attention that would have been better spent addressing the town's drainage problems. Maybe finally get that started on that damn messianic ditch. Still, they had spent a few things to dispose of. Broken flower pots, empty glass bottles, clothes that didn't fit anymore. They gradually fell into the habit of collecting waste and carrying it to the truck. Once a month, some shadows would come in from the night woods and haul the garbage away on a cart. Some shadows. Right, and one like interesting thing that this game keeps doing is it keeps playing with this idea of ghosts and ghostly figures, but it's extremely unclear whether it's literal actual ghosts or, the memories of the past metaphorical ghosts. And I think leaning into that ambiguity is lovely. Except for the throttle. We could do that. Sometimes I really enjoy just hanging around scripted conversations in games and just seeing how much content is actually there. Almost always there's too much to, hold attention span. That's kind of the point. But yeah, I'm almost always really impressed by how much content is written for conversations like that you're kind of supposed to just walk by. Okay, and we're back up to the weird domes. Let's try this bottom path down here. This is definitely, I think, one of the more large and open areas so far. So what's interesting is now I'm feeling like I'm starting to run out of things to explore, but I noticed there's ghosty guys still walking around, and I wonder if they are also there to maybe provide hints as to, content you haven't seen. I mean, this feels really uh, relevant. I'm really surprised there's not an interact here on this dead animal being pulled away. Okay. Well, sad. Junebug and Johnny strained to hear the noises coming from the well. So they were musicians, if I recall. Johnny says, I couldn't even tell it was a dead animal. So, I mean, and that's kind of what I mean, Jeffrey, is like, it took me a minute of looking at the screen before I realized that too. And I think the only reason I did was because I had the previous framing from the other one that was already in the water. So, yeah, I think like the way that this game leans into its low polyness to then kind of have a visual reveal that's not even, oh, look, there's a new thing on screen, but it's more like this moment of recognition in the player of like, oh my gosh, that guy is pulling a giant dead animal. Yeah. Well, and we had the woman also who was writing the eulogies. Okay. Yeah. Strange to hear noises coming from the well. Creepy. Singing or two people talking but not to each other. Talking to themselves. Maybe they're each alone or maybe they're on the phone. Oh. Johnny shades his eyes with his hand. I think the truck's okay down there. Sure, I doubt any thief could get it started. Or it's lost. They don't seem to mind. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's echoing. And I don't think I have any other interacts now. Oh, I can leave, yeah. But I want to keep meowing down as well. Are they all spirals of different kinds? Because they echo? Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Oh. Yeah, and then sort of the shift of the camera to direct me in different directions. A plus meow design, it really is. It is lovely. Yeah, and what's so cool is as these come up, it sometimes takes me a minute to process whether it's a conversation or a choice. All right, so yeah, he's a beautiful dog. So this Connor was his name, the protagonist, and this was Connor's dog, and Connor was the first playable character that we were. Yeah, seems to like you. Well, I sure don't know what to do with him. He's probably better off with you, or I'm still hoping to get him back to the old man somehow. Oh no, do we want to get rid of him? No. There have been a lot of really lovely moments too where we had the choice as Connor to just talk to the dog, which just was, I don't know, a really lovely detail. Yeah, so we had this moment of I'm still hoping to get him back to the old man somehow, or yeah, and then that's kind of followed up with these other sort of very parting statements. Said you were sketching, researching. Yeah, I'm really glad this is here because I did not actually remember who Maya is, and she is a researcher. Yeah, I just came down to see this ancient earthwork. Or I make stuff like this, kind of. Where do you exhibit it? Or with what materials? Oh, this is so cool. So, this game, in addition to releasing its various acts over like very long time spans, it also had interstitial, like small creations, and one of them was a museum of impossible designs or something like that, which did really weird and interesting things with space, which also this game has done a lot of kind of surrealist use of space. And yeah, so like where do you exhibit it feels like a reference to the interstitial. So what's interesting is each of them have been tangentially related to the game, but not like actual, in-game material. Outside, out in the fields, forests, away from roads, or I have one in the Grassvine Office Park in Indiana. Oh, interesting. It's beautiful, right? This big mound. Why did they build this? A huge dirt spiral. um, yeah, this one definitely isn't. I don't know what it's for, or it's just art. But I love it's just art, right? Like it feels super meta of a statement. I don't know what it's for, and then and then hey, just enjoy it. It's art. Which again, yeah, like very much feels like this game in a way too. I think if you approach this game as a traditional game player, particularly of point and click games where there are a lot of puzzles and things, and you're coming from a tradition of, okay, what do I do and how do I play these characters efficiently and things like that, this game really does not reward that. Okay, I am a little bit lost though. But I do feel like as I've clicked around, each time I've been like, okay, I think I've seen everything, and then there's been new stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how far up this way it'll let us go or anything, but not too far. We definitely went through here, so let's maybe try to come back this way a little. Yeah, the well in the middle. The dead cow or horse. But yeah, sort of approaching in spirals, and Ezra is gone somewhere different. Yeah, probably with the others over here. But yeah, now like as the lighting changes over here, I'm kind of having this moment of, okay, is time passing? Are we sort of doing an in-space montage situation? Yeah, I want to go maybe check out that person. Yeah, I mean, this person also, like, still seems stationary and doesn't... Yeah, it doesn't seem like these are changing. But there just aren't very many alive people. Can we go back to where we started? Sure, I don't entirely remember where we started, but we'll move along the spiral. Yeah, I'm just really skeptical of people, because all of the people seem to keep disappearing. But, I mean, which is also a thing that the dialogue called out. Okay, here's our buckyballs. Yeah. As we're still talking to the plane person. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a conversation we're supposed to listen to. We can always come back to it. Yeah, I think, was it over here that we started? Yeah. Creepy ghostly person. Hello. I don't know that we've explored this lovely garden. This cute arch. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, in general, though, the interacts are pretty, like, they jump out. Oh. Waffles for any weather. Wow, he's a deep sleeper. Yeah, listen to that. Is that the dog? It's making me a bit sleepy. Oh yeah, rhythmic breathing. It's nice. Hypnotic. Creepy walker. Shannon breathes out slowly. Yeah, they totally have hands. Dog farts. Oh wow. Yeah, so I mean that did feel a little bit like a montage moment. I mean, I do think, you know, given the call out to spirals in the dialogue and in the terrain, it does feel like we are kind of meant to keep circling this. Is that an interact or just, no, it's just an idle animation. Okay. Oh wait, I'm not sure we've been over here. We are cat. We are meant to nap, it's true. Wait. I missed a meow. There we go. A crow remembers inside the smoker. A frog slips out into the grass, too quick to see. Yeah, I do also love the little moments of just catness. Creepy music as we get near the cemetery. That's interesting. Yeah, I do feel like from a pacing perspective, I'm starting to get a little bit impatient as a player. They're gone now. Interesting. Let's pop back up here. Well, the mailbox says 5 dog would drive, or do you hear music? So what's interesting also is that one of the things that was a clue to keep kind of circling, partly it was, you know, the spiral and the terrain, but also they previously when we were navigating Kentucky Route Zero, there were things like you would have to circle 3 times clockwise and 2 times counterclockwise and stuff in order to find specific places. So it's a theme that has permeated the work so far. Is there any mail in there? Or is there a doormat? Sometimes a key is under a doormat. Oh my gosh! Yeah, let's break in! Strange to say, but I feel like I've been here before. Anyone else? Or I think it's lovely. It just showed up at the house. Oh, is this your place? Weird time for new construction, but what do I know? It just showed up. Creepy. Where did it come from? Or who lives here? Oh, I want to know both. Maybe it blew in with the storm. No information given. Oh my gosh, can you hear that? Very shrill mechanical sound. Feels warmer in here somehow. Or nobody lives here. Ooh. Yeah. Warmer and brighter. We do have some nicer instrumentation for sure. I love how we're like, nobody lives here? It's a house without walls. Well, somebody ordered some furniture. Yeah, you could fly a plane in here. Bigger than it looks. Interesting. The light in here is pretty great, actually. What this town needs is a kitchen. Oh yeah, somewhere to cook all the beans. There's so much room though, we could set up a whole studio. Yes, this for somebody who has played this whole game, this feels absolutely as like surreal and nonsensical as it probably does to somebody coming in not super familiar with the game. It's not like this all makes sense to me. So yeah. And at night we look at stars. Oh, we have lots of room. Plus everything we recorded would have bird sounds on it. Kind of a cool signature. And at night we look at the stars. Oh, this is an interesting one. Like, do we want Shannon to be more setting up or leaving? Maybe leaving. This all feels creepy to me. Yeah. Ooh, and then everybody gets all creepy. Junebug's like, what's the hurry? Cool little distortion effect there. I guess back to the distillery, see if there's anything I can do, or try to get my old shop back. Yeah, so at the end of Act 4, so we had been Connor, and sometimes Shannon, but like Connor really felt like the protagonist, and he ended Act 4 in dire straits, like left to the devices of this company, and then we've sort of opened Act 5 just ignoring all of that. And so it's having this very unsettling vibe. And so yeah, and that's what this is in reference to, is getting back to help Connor, who we sort of just left. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely want to get back to that. You know what this place is? A big dog house. Aw. Could really fit a lot of books in here. I'd love to perform in a place like this at sunset. Yeah. I feel like I'm on stage right now, actually. What about the audience? Everybody's leaving. Weird acoustics. Like you get little echoes before the sounds themselves. Yeah. Feels like it's time to move forward, which feels so direct. Like that feels like such a game line. Need to make sure we preserve some of this stuff. before the next big storm, which absolutely feels like a Life is Strange reference. Okay. I think more people will come after these people leave. We could put on a play for all the animals. It feels like we already are. At least there'll always be bugs. That's what I like about bugs. We saved what we could. Yeah, almost feels like they see something different than we see. Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And it actually, here, that big pile of mail. And to me, actually, that felt like a particularly theatrical moment, right? Like that very much had that same vibe that you get in a theater show when they walk into a space that's clearly meant to represent something different, and they say with their dialogue, "Oh wow, this apartment's so spacious," or whatever. Yeah, absolutely has those kind of feels. Okay. Affirmative meow. Come stand here. This is the starting line. Ready? Yeah. We racing? Get set. Let's go. Go. Oh no, we're taking a terrible path. Go, go, go. What a cute way to get us to the next area. All right. It's no shame to lose. I'm a fast runner. Yeah, that was really interesting level design to me as a designer. That screamed out people didn't know where to go next in testing, so we added a thing so that people could. Oh, we're reading now. Oh, hi, kitty. Chatty meow. Yes, it's a beautiful day. I guess the weather was pretty bad last night, though. Yeah, it's so cool. Like these. Oh my god, whoever did the sound design for this game, it deserves all the awards. Oh wait, yeah, I can keep meowing. We're just gonna keep meowing. Oh, it's a conversation that starts over. That actually feels a little bit significant. I guess the weather was pretty bad last night, though. Yeah, chatty. Yeah. Fanciful meow. Sure, whatever you say. All right, well, take it easy. Okay, let's go check out this conversation. Yeah, I'd be worried about that too. Well, it isn't just the rodents. The floors are mostly rotted, I think. You'd fall right through. I'm surprised they're still standing after last night. All the buildings? No, most of them have good bones. It's just the ones the power company built that are rotten. Oh, okay. Yeah, the power company moved in here a while back and set it up like their own little town. For the workers. But they didn't build them too good, huh? It's garbage. They couldn't be bothered. I lived in that one over there, in fact, when I first came here to work at the power plant. Oh yeah? I wouldn't set foot in there now, though. Which one is that one over there, do you think? Creepy ghost? Is that creepy ghost going to church? More creepy ghosts. The music definitely got creepy for a minute. It's getting less creepy now. Let's see. I'm like, is that another cat? I can't tell. I think they might just be rocks or something. Is it just creepy noises when I get close to the ghosts? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. Clyde lay on his back on the runway, hands folded behind his head, halfway between dreams and the afternoon sun. He entertained the momentary delusion that he'd survived a plane crash and was vaguely unhappy when the dream faded. Ooh. The runway smelled like oil, years of leaky light aircraft taking off and landing. All the state said they wanted was to knock down some trees, many trees, and build a road tying this small town to the larger web of streets and highways that entombed the rest of the country. Ooh, the wording is so good. Yeah, okay, the larger web. It would bring in new goods, new people, maybe even some cash from tourism. Many of the residents supported the idea. I absolutely love the peppering in of tech words and like tech startup lingo. Yeah, really, really good touch. It'd bring in new goods, new people, maybe even some cash from tourism. Many of these residents supported the idea. But Clyde and his inner circle of stunt pilots turned mail carriers knew that a road would be the end of their secluded paradise. Excuse me. Yeah. Audio cues. That's good. Ron, no miss, they don't scare me at all. If you met them, you'd feel the same way, I'm sure. I'm just curious, I guess. I know them pretty well by now, but I'd like to know them better. I don't believe old Jorge would ever hurt us. He's kind and a bit of a bookworm, as far as I can tell. Ooh, now I'm really, really interested in who we're talking about. I leave the radio on for her at night, somewhere between stations, so it's just hissing. She likes the hissing, I think, though I can't say why. Or I do my best to keep the roof mended. She doesn't like the rain. It's such a evocative image. What is it about the radio they love? They all love it. To tell you the truth, I feel a little bad I won't be here to care for them anymore. Isn't that something? Yeah, what strange dialogue. I'm leaving at sunset. If you like, I'll help you back to find a bus to Lithuania. Or so you're playing some music in Nashville later. It's a good place for it. This one feels the least interesting. Let's yeah, go with that one. Yeah, yeah, everybody should get out of here. My uncle is very dying. I should be there to see him through it. Or I'm sure there's always so much to do at home. That seems to be the one place we're always needed. With everyone gone, who will feed these ghosts? Yeah. Who will feed the ghosts? So creepy. I like that in a strange situation you look for the option that makes it even stranger. Well, I mean, it's partly because as a player I want to know more about strange thing. And I know logically that it's not ever given me more information. It's probably not going to now, but I like it. I don't know. Like that's what draws me in. As for us asking, there's really never been a road to this place. Why not? Or so how did you all get food out here? Ooh, that feels like it could go in creepy directions. But there not being a road ever is also a little strange. He's talking to the crow. Yeah. That's what I figured. Well now, if I'd realized he was talking to the crow, I would have asked about the road. Not that he would have answered in any different way, but I would have asked. Yeah. That's what I figured. Indignant. I love it. Makes sense to me. No, why? A detailed series of chitters. I guess we could, but it sounds like a lot of work. Yeah. Uh, in a lot of ways, this feels entirely like an apophenia machine, right? So apophenia is the human characteristic to, see patterns and causality in stories and relationships where there aren't any and it's just random. And I'm definitely feeling that right now. Like it probably could be presenting literally anything, and it's just raising more and more questions, and it's fascinating. Okay. Right. I'll think about it. Or okay, then I guess we better get started. I like the ones that are like suggest a bit more depth and involvement. Cool. Yeah, let's keep going. Spiral on. Emily, it's really cool. Where did you get it? Oh, it's just in my pocket. My jacket pocket. Is it special? It's exactly the one we need to play this game. 20 sides. So the very start of this game, there were some ghostly figures playing D&D or some role-playing game at a gas station. And they lost their 20-sided die, and the first thing we had to do as player was go find it, and when we brought it back, they were gone. This was actually someone else's jacket. I'm sure he doesn't need anymore. So we still had the 20-sided die. It's cool that it glows in the dark. We just need a dark place to play. My friend's uncle said we could use his basement. Perfect, I'll hold on to this. Don't lose it. I'll guard it with my life. Yeah, I mean, I think it might have been these exact people, actually, because I remember Bob as a name standing out. Which is also kind of weird. Marianne clears her throat. Inquisitive meow. Oh, hello. Marianne, just wanted gently. Softly singing, Wanda, time to wake up. Curious meow. Nope, dead to the world. Probing meow. Just try again later, I guess. June bugs, that is a nice little setup you've got. Ain't like it used to be around here, I'll tell you that. Oh, okay. It never is, or what changed? The runway's got some cracks in it for one. Cass is gone. Tell me about Cass. Yeah. I can't resist a question. A mystery? Oh, what can I tell you? She loved her nephew and nieces, the brothers who started our little community of pilots. She was a smart lady. No, she's a wise lady. Knowing her, I came to see the difference. Ooh. Yeah, interesting. She had a sense of things to come. I don't know if it was clairvoyance or just good eyes. We relied on her cards for every major decision. Ooh. So good. Yeah, we'll go with the cards. There was one thing Cass always insisted on about this place. No roads leading in or out. Hell, we can always fly. To tell you the truth, I've long suspected that the reason Cass never wanted any roads here was just to keep the horses safe. Sure. And now, the horses have died. Curious meow. I'm so impressed by their breadth of synonyms. Oh man, it's totally broken. Waterlogged tapes. They might still play. Who knows? But all the VCRs are shot. Yeah, this game also really has like an interesting nostalgia or something for analog as a thing. There's a lot about, you know, tapes and radios. I don't even know where to put all of this. I hate to call it trash. I wonder if that garbage truck still works. Until it finally just gave way. But you did good work. It's not your fault. They didn't let you finish, that's all. If they let you finish, don't forget about it. I'm gonna let you finish, chat. This place would be dry as a bone. You always did good work. It's a memorial. Rita tore up weeds. Elmo stood next to her with a bucket. She passed him the uprooted weeds, and he stuffed them in the bucket. They worked this way for a few hours. Dark crowds drifted slowly closer, but wouldn't arrive until evening. Rita left to get some tea. Elmo sat in the dirt. He pulled up a blade of grass and held it up in the path of a ladybug. When it boarded the grass and Elmo lifted them both into the air, he held the bug close in front of his face and tried to count its spots. Tried. Interesting. Rita came back with a plastic jug of sweet tea. They sat and drank for a while and then got back to work. The garden was coming along as well as they could hope, given months of neglect. When the plant shut down, the company abruptly pulled out of the area and took a large part of the town's population with it. This included the Carver family, who had tended this garden, the largest and most productive in town, for years. Rita and Elmo worked until it started to rain. The rain washed their sweat into the dirt. Yeah, this is a super interesting way to do what feels like the denouement of a town, right? Like where each of these little moments feels itself like both a vignette and in kind of a small like hypertext. It very much has some of the writing and aesthetics from, for example, like the Eastgate School of Hypertext, but they themselves feel like these little eulogies. I don't think that's ever gonna get old. Something brown scurries up the side of the tree. A squirrel? Too fast to tell. So good. Man, they're so colorful now. Am I supposed to go check them out? Is that why they're so colorful? Oh, we've already been up there. I feel like it would be telling me a little more. Well, they're being quite loud. Wait. Oh, it's gone. So creepy. Yeah, seems like not anything in particular. Weird. Heavier than they look. Sure, everyone's heavier after they've passed. It's only natural. Spirit has no weight. In fact, it lifts us up a little. Oh, it's you again. Yeah, well, feel free to pitch in. I'm sure this would go a lot quicker with two of us on it. Argumentative meow. Busy, huh? What, left a sunbeam unslept in? Suit yourself, I'll be here. I really want to engage with this person, but it doesn't seem like I've been able to. Does it work? I don't know. I think you wind it here. No, it doesn't work. I could probably fix it. Oh, you could definitely fix it, man. And then you'd have a new robot friend. And then I'd have a new robot friend. Robot friend? I know. I know. She watched him. Oh, man. Why is that so creepy? It's like in writing is expressing, uh, like, oh gosh, just there's just so much going on here. Super short staccato sentence. Every word of that's really powerful. It's giving us no information, which makes us feel like the stress of that being watched. Wow, there's a brilliant piece of writing. Yeah. What? Okay. She stood in her own shadow. A few deer hunters and talkers walked past, but said nothing to the seer. Didn't even look. She studied the path. This was the path the seer had found in her scrying game, a series of private dice rolls and inscrutable diagrams. The community trusted this game. It had led them to fish-filled streams, intimate knowledge of the elements and stars, even here, to the Cenote settlement. They trusted it without understanding it, and now the game had revealed to the seer this vital route, which would lead them to safety before the next floods came. At the end of the route, she'd seen a safe, quiet place, caverns of leathery blackbirds, a lake of eyeless fish, creepy, a towering flame. Now the diver walked the mounds, memorizing the route. He was almost ready. Nope, that's fine. Everything's fine. Junebug. Some of these are really old. Maybe we should open them. No. He did such a great job with the meows. He says not to open other people's mail, kid. I know what he said. But if they're not even here to open it themselves... I won't tell a soul. Soul, such a loaded word on that, right? Oh. How about Greg Rabbit? Greg the Rabbit? No, like Rabbit is his last name. Well, there's no Greg or Rabbit here. Not anymore, at least. Great. It is our privilege. It is our privilege to inform you that your Apple oh, the stuttering application has been accepted. Your studies can begin as soon as you arrive. Again, just like peppering in a little bit of big tech. Good job. Peppering in things like privilege. Yeah, good job, Greg. I hope he got the message eventually. I wonder what he studied. Artichokes. What? Oh no, architecture. together. Those two horses. I saw the design on a barn somewhere, or would you believe it came to me in a dream? Yeah, let's do the dream. One of those dreams where you're lost somewhere kind of familiar and anonymous, like a bus terminal. Anyway, you don't want to hear about it. Of course I want to hear about the dream. Everyone else knows where to go, but you're really confused. You're holding some instructions or a map or something, but you can't read it. Yeah, just like more playing into this ethereal, dream-like surrealness. And you look up and there it is. Sorry, I don't know why I told you that. It's nice. What is it for? Or your day off, or is the bureau closed today? Ooh. I think I put this up in the old barn as part of their ceremony. I'm honored to tell you the truth. Maybe it'll be kind of like a marker. I've never painted a grave marker before. For the horses. Oh. I really like the visuals of that, though. I don't know how this game manages to make low poly so cute, but it really does. Like, both in 2D and 3D, apparently. Hear music. Really nice audio as design clue. Oh, is it in the well? Yeah. So creepy. Wait, look at this place. The library. What a mess. Or do you know how long you have to be asleep before you can start dreaming? Let's go with the library because I'm curious. I'm basically like this building's only next of kin, or I feel like I should give you a tour. But let's skip to the good part. Any questions? Did they ever cook food here? Was it for people or animals? Did they have a secret name or just a regular one? And what kind of parties did they have? I love Ezra as a character. Okay, was it for people or animals? People at first. A group of utopian social experimenters. They kept their books here, and I think it was kind of the heart of their community. Or mostly animals for years now. We used to keep our videotapes here, but the raccoons. Oh man. I like that kind of history, the lived-in details. My friend Bert says the work of history is to find a pattern in unasked questions. Oh my god. Yeah. In the evening, when the Chinese wall was finished, where did the Masons go? Or Caesar beat the Gauls, but was there not even a cook in his army? Yeah, this is a special place. I feel a little guilty. You'd fit right in here. Sure, there's a mess right now, but there's some residual energy from those fearless experimenters that I don't think will ever dissipate. I could stay here, or I don't want to live in a place like this. Junebug and Johnny walk up. Oh, hi, aren't you? That's good, little dude. We're talking about the library, we're talking about history, we're talking about the people who built this library. Is this your family? Oh, are you in the band? Friends of yours? Oh, let's say family. Oh man, what a good thing. Yeah, that's what looks at Johnny. Oh, so cool. And then we get to respond for that person. That's such a great little like choice moment in series. What do you say, kid? We're just travel companions. Ah, sure we are. Whatever you say, Cricket. Ron, Tug, Crave. So interesting that we it's like titled scenes in the same area. Interesting. No, I've never read it either. Good question. Let's take a look. I like the little books stacked up. Here we go. Minerva, Circe, Sappho. And some ladies from the Bible. Nosy meow. I think they all get together and build a city. Sounds nice. I got a bus ticketing. It's like ever since then I've just been treating it like a little cafe for the town. But before that, it was the company store. Ooh. It's called Coffee and Tunes. Now. Oh yeah, you like to cook? Or everybody pitches in? Yeah, everybody pitches in? Yeah, it's a community thing, but I make the waffles. People have to look out for each other here. It's always been that way. Once led a demonstration march right down this main strip back in the battle days. Of course, we had no formal union. They watched everyone, and they had cops on their side. Or I won't lie, it was harrowing, but I'm proud to say I marched in full view of God and the company and everyone on that day. Yeah. We had 1,000 strategies to hide our numbers. We rotated leadership on the hour. We had so many secret passwords I never knew if I was speaking in code or shooting the breeze. In the end, we extracted a few minor concessions, and the company pulled out of town before any real bloodshed could get underway, mostly. Yeah, I want to hear more about this. Well, I know I'm not sticking around. You think you'll do anything with this place? We ought to just set this place on fire. Yeah, people gotta eat, right? Well, some people. Well, some people. Three A, lay paper fat. 3B, bring bottom left corner up to top right corner. Crease with firm, steady pressure along diagonal fold. Nikki applied only gentle pressure. Looser flowers felt more alive. She rolled her wrists. It was the 6th hour of her assigned company store shift, and she'd made dozens of flowers. Ron had bought a bouquet and cleaned out their stock that afternoon. Heat steps A4 through 7 for each petal, taking care not to rip the filaments from step 9. The company store used to have a dedicated staff until the civic responsibility plan a few years back. Now everyone took 1 or 2 shifts a week on a mandatory volunteer basis. Oh, hello. Commotion outside caught Nikki's attention. Men yelling, blows landing. She put down her work and stepped out just in time to see the crowd disperse. Okay, yeah, you can go. No. Yeah, Farah is like, you're still at your computer. What are you doing? It's way too late. Sorry, pup. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. weather makes you kind of wish it never stopped raining. Or 6 feet, that's the standard for people anyway, but 6 feet's the rule for a person, and let's say the average person is 5'9". Maybe I ought to stick to the traditional depth out of respect. The neighbors were about 15 hands, so that's pretty close. Now what I can't figure is, for purposes of burial, do you measure from the front legs or the back? Oh. Well, at least I'm putting the math in. If this were still company property, they'd be off to a landfill. Eek. Must have been 4 hours dragging them out of the water. I got their measurements down now. Carved into my muscles. Permanent. So heavy, waterlogged. God, it's not how I want to remember them. Or it just got so deep so fast. Shouldn't have been that deep there. And I know who to blame. Those greedy sons of bitches had finished that drainage ditch when they were supposed to. I had to hike through the woods and give them a piece of my mind. Oh damn, there he goes. Can we go in after him? The mural's all done. Oh, they've got eyes now. In the bushes? Yeah. After the raccoon? Yeah. Hey! Don't run in the graveyard. Yeah, fair enough. Why not? It's... People are trying to rest. Oh, weird. I wonder if that's a bug. Annoyed, meow. Agreed. After the raccoon? Yeah. No. But it's probably full of thorns. Yeah, but raccoon. It's not happening. Oh, don't pout. Tell you what, if that raccoon comes back into town, we'll leave some food out for him. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so much of this game has had kind of a really interesting pacing. Like, it's definitely slow. But not slow in a way that's methodical exactly. It's like slow in a way that keeps you a little confused as a player. It's not like... I don't feel like I can rely on the general conventions of pacing and narrative feel that I'm used to. I love the lead-in here. Yeah, I'll miss them for sure. Beautiful creatures and so thoughtful. And I bet, where do you think he'll go? Or, well, look at this. Yeah, well, look at this. Pulls a videotape out of the rubble. Oh man, which cool thing here. Pulls a piece of slate adorned with partial circuit diagram. Or pulls a broken projector. Oh gosh, these are all good. Uh, Let's go with the projector. Almost projector. Oh, it's ruined. Poor Emma, he'd be devastated. Nah, he'd be cool with it. Takes a lot to perturb that guy. Oh, good. I'm glad we can do the other ones too. That makes me really happy. Labels all muddy. Looks like, oh, it's cave art. Cool. Who knows if it'll play though? Or, oh, this is Rita's tape. Oh, so interesting. Maybe she can clean it up. Very little I can salvage here. Wouldn't mean anything anyway. It's kind of a package deal. I think the ceremony's around dusk. Yeah, I haven't really asked a lot of questions about why there's a half building and furniture out in front of it. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. There's a lot more furniture over in the creepy house, though. More ghosties. Clyde and Cass sat cross-legged in the shade of a light aircraft. Cass shuffling cards, and Clyde absently flipping through a stack of unopened letters. I mean, we know that cards are divination, so let's go with those. Cass played cards and told fortunes with the same deck. Sometimes she'd switch it up mid-game or mid-divination until you never knew whether you were winning or losing, or if good luck in the game might mean bad luck in some other part of your life. Well, have to go fortune. She'd predicted the decline of the circus, of course. And of course, nobody had believed her. There were 3 dervish brothers. 2 were women. The oldest had flown a reconnaissance plane at the tail end of the war, then returned home to teach his youngest sisters the art of trick flying. None of them were gifted pilots, but they were fearless. Demand for aerial stunts having faded almost completely, and many of their company having died or aged out of the profession, Clyde and Cass found their remaining pilots a steady flow of contract work delivering mail to the remote rural areas, but this place was abandoned. Cass's cards predicted they'd be here for quite a while. Oh, it's so creepy. So creepy. Yeah, it definitely does have very, Amazon or like Uber Eats kind of vibes. I even lived in there for a bit. No way. Yeah, too drafty. I moved out one winter and never looked back. It gets cold. Sure, when the sun is down. Nice old church, though. Really nice. Could make a nice workshop. And there you go. Yeah, I definitely feel as a player right now, like I'm really not sure if we're going to move on from this. If we're like if this is just going to be the whole rest of the game. It's kind of like looking at these small stories in this town we ended up in. Like, are we going to go back for Connor? I'm not sure. Whoa. Whoa. I love that we have no idea what those are. Are they birds? Are they bats? Are they bugs? How creepy. Ron, hand me that rag, would you? The one with the embroidered bird on it? This one? Does it have a bird on it? I think so. Don't you know what a bird looks like? Moments after I say, we can't tell if they're birds. Yeah, but it's pretty small. I thought it was some letters. I guess that could be a bird on there. Well, it's a rag, ain't it? As long as it's a rag, I guess it'll work for Mop and Sweat. Yeah, it's a rag for sure. Yeah, and the sort of like darkening and creepy sounds and stuff. There's definitely like a vibe that they're going for. And burying of the horses and everything. Whoa, whoa. What's all this? We haven't seen this before. The seer huttered in the small cave. The deer hunters ran by, shielding their eyes from the torrential rain. It must have looked like she was taking shelter, but she was waiting for the water to rise and envelop her. The water was warm. It rose above her knees, reminded her of the room. She closed her eyes. She wondered where the diver was now, if he had found the end of the route. Was he on his way back, or had he been lost underground? Either way, it was too late. I wonder if that's about Connor. She thought back to the first flood, long before her birth, a flood she had only seen in dice rolls. She stayed there for a while and then opened her eyes again. Now the water was crossing her heart. She took the game pieces from her bag and released them gently into the flood. Interesting. I really like this knife. It has an aura, know what I mean? An aura. Yeah, like it wasn't exactly used to cut apples. It's meant for greater things. Yes, ma'am. Where are you flying to? Flying? Ha! I'm just checking to see if everything's working, okay? You could fly her somewhere if you wanted to, though, right? Of course. So why don't you? Here we go. Keep your distance now. Definitely flying. Just driving around in a plane as you do. Okay. That's where it stops. Well, it still sounds like it's doing stuff. Yeah, it's still going. Alright. Interesting. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess Oh, I don't know, just a bunch of old stuff. It's hard to imagine someone ordering this. Like, these things, specifically. Why these things? This folding rocking chair. It's nice, but it's so peculiar. Someone really wanted this chair. Now we're setting it all up, trying to reverse engineer this person we never met. I kind of feel like we are that person. We're making that person right now together. Whoa, so meta. Reassuring. Yeah, thanks. That helps. So meta. Yeah, just everything about this is sort of so slow and methodical. It's why you couldn't get into it. Hi, Kineticorn. How are you? So slow. Yeah, it really is. Uh, hey, y'all. Thanks for sticking around for this. I know we've all got places to. Well, if anybody needs somewhere to go, be sure and speak up, okay? I think Rod's heading through the woods tonight. Back to the road if you want a caravan. But I should probably play it eventually as it's on the list, but I've tried a few times. Yeah, I mean, so I really enjoyed streaming it because it just, I don't know, I think it's a game that really rewards thinking through and talking about with people. So I was talking yesterday about, games with a soul and games that really want, like, they have a particular thing they want the player to experience. And for me, this game, it's almost less even about the game and more about like the dialogue that the game fosters when you talk about it with other people. So, I mean, there's a reason it was the first game I streamed on this stream, and yeah, it was kind of the game that kicks it off. It streams hard. It seems hard to stream though because you can't really get into it. So it's definitely a game that I think is hard to stream in a lot of the ways that games, like when we say a game is easy to stream, many of the aspects of games that make them easy to stream or that people seem to want to watch in streams, this game is the opposite of that. Decaf Jedi! Hello, thank you so much for the raid. Can we get a shout out for Decaf Jedi? Welcome in, raiders. How is it going? Hi, hi, hi. Oh, Fernier, how's it going? Valiant Cheese, hello. Welcome. Valiant Cheese says, hi, I haven't played Act 5 yet. Don't want to hang around, but hope I have a lovely stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in. Voco Web, welcome. It's also got a kind of long story, so hard to jump in and out of. So while I agree with that, Kineticorn, it's also, it's not really plot driven though, and it's kind of character driven. So for Raiders, if you're just joining us, we're playing Act 5 of Kentucky Route Zero. And this is a game that is a very cerebral point and click, like just fantastic game. So yeah, let me get that shout out for Decaf Jedi. Yeah, anybody in chat, if you're not already following Decaf Jedi, we rated him yesterday, so you should be. But if you're not, absolutely go give him a follow. He is absolutely fantastic streamer, and yeah, does adventure games and just lots of cool, interesting stuff. Some older stuff, and just excellent sense of humor, excellent commentary on the games, and just great all around human. How was Portal 2? That sounds awesome. Man, yeah, I should stream the Portal games at some point. That would be really fun. They have such good writing. And yeah, they were some games that got me really interested in doing narrative design for games. Kim Swift is one of my heroes of game development. So, it's one of my favorite games. Really enjoyed the co-op. Yeah. Yeah, and also it sort of like deeply bothers my soul that Kim Swift is not as famous as like a Miyamoto, because I feel like the design of Portal is so good that she absolutely should be. Solving puzzles with a friend is really good. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds so fun. Yeah. I'll definitely have to check out the VOD. That sounds amazing. So, yeah, Raiders, if you're just joining us, we are playing Kentucky Route Zero Act 5. And this is, yeah, like a very cerebral, very literary, modern point and click game. Thank you so much for the raid, Decaf Jedi. I really, really appreciate it. Have a wonderful night. And yeah, there are so many allusions in this game, literary references, references to classic adventure games, references to obscure interactive fiction, hypertext theory, which nobody does. So it's so my jam and in my wheelhouse, because I love all of those things. But actually, I was just having a conversation with Kinetic when you guys joined that it's one that's weird for streaming, because it's so the opposite of what most people want when they're watching a stream. It's so yeah, Kinetic, you were saying like it seems hard to stream because you can't really get into like if you're pausing and not kind of concentrating versus chat. Can you say more what you mean about that? So for me, it's the opposite of what a lot of people want in a streaming experience, because it's fairly linear. So, but it not in a way where it feels like it's going to be spoiled, because so much of the fun of this game is the choosing of lines as you go. It's like you're not role playing a particular character. It's more like you are the playwright, and you're sort of choosing what the story is going to be on a line for line basis, but it doesn't actually have systemic impacts usually. Like sometimes it'll kind of the dialogue might go in a certain direction for a couple more exchanges, but in general, like it's not going to change the plot. It might just change a little bit how you think of the characters or how you want to shape the characters. Like games where ambiance is key, not like all movies would work with Mystery Science Theater. And I think that's kind of streaming, like commenting along with people versus getting into the game and experiencing it as the developer laid out. Many games I really need to enjoy, like in headphones without distraction. I can totally see that. For me, this game is almost more the latter. Like, it feels like a game that really rewards commentary, and not from a Mystery Science Theater perspective. Like when we were playing Overboard, that's a game where it's really fun to get in there and have chat make choices, and we're trying to get away with murder, and it's kind of zany in that way. This game is not like that. It's quiet, it's contemplative, but it's so cerebral, and there are so many references. Like I can't catch all of the literary references as they're going through. Like there were some really apparent Waiting for Godot references. There've been a lot with hypertext theory. There've been obvious sort of allusions to other interactive fiction and narrative focused games. We had a lot of before the storm kind of like things going on earlier, which felt like a Life is Strange reference to me. And then there kind of keep being these political moments where they just feel like direct attacks on big tech, which I don't know, it's kind of interesting. But I don't know, at the same time, it's like even though we're playing through the story, we're on Act 5, I don't feel like anybody jumping in right now is like missing all that much, because so much of this game is not about the plot or what happens or the characters. It's about the general feel and ambiance and uh the beautiful writing and the execution of like these various moments. So this is a perfect example where we have this exchange. Emily says, "Hey y'all, thanks for sticking around for this," which absolutely feels like a meta direct address to the player because Act 5 took so long to come out. I know we've all got places to, well, if anyone needs to somewhere to go, be sure to speak up, okay? I think Ron's heading through the woods tonight, back to the road if you want a caravan. And Ron says, "You staying, Em?" And now as Emily, we as the player have a chance to decide what Emily says. Even the fact that it's in screenplay format like this. Yeah, sure, I'll stay. Kineticorn says, "Yeah, I mean, I kind of prefer to experience those for myself. Like, I could see a streamer maybe enjoying it as a gamer. It's rough not having the game come to me." Totally get that. I think, yeah, it's absolutely the sort of thing that I think a lot of people will want to play for themselves, even after seeing it experienced. But, like, I never understood people watching Telltale games either, which kind of missed the point, maybe outside of Borderlands. Nah, I don't know. I enjoy watching Telltale games streamed, or games like that, games in that genre, because it's fun. It's the same thing as crowd play, right? Like, it's fun to try to make the choices and live with the consequences, particularly if you're making a streamer make choices they might not personally want to make. I don't know, that's a lot of fun. But different folks, you know? So maybe watching a friend finish once you have, totally. So yeah, for Emily, a lot of times I've just been selecting the choice that is the weirder one, because I kind of, sometimes you get a little bit of extra dialogue in that direction, and I kind of like it. But so many of these are just sort of beautiful, evocative statements that don't actually end up going anywhere. So, okay, Emily says, at least for a while, I just want to make sure everyone has somewhere to go. Or I think we can build something here again. This place has good bones. Yeah, there's so much tension in all of these responses between should we stay here or should we keep moving on. I don't know. If it's a game trying to be emotional, I think the format is hard for that, which is why the best Telltale things were often videos on YouTube versus interactive, watching their emotions. Yeah, I could see that. I also really enjoy watching streamers' reactions to Telltale, but this game is also like the opposite of that. You are not role playing a character. You are not experiencing the story from the point of view of a character. It's a very cerebral as opposed to emotional experience. The I would say the deepest emotions that this game is stirring in me are some combination of there are a lot of creepy and unsettling and surreal moments, but some, and there are some sort of surrealist and absurdist moments, but mostly it's been yeah, like these kind of reflective and intellectual emotions. For right now, we've got some friends to bury, the neighbors. So the neighbors, for those coming in, are two horses that have died. Nikki has a poem and I have a song. If anyone wants to say anything, though, I'll go first. The neighbors were kind, gentle, beautiful horses. They used to go on walks with the silver one out in the woods by... Why didn't anybody ever give them names? They are neighbors, Jeffrey Lindsay. Oh my gosh, I did not make that connection. You're so right. The silver one. Well, I guess he was gray, but his coat looks silver in the light. So I always called him that in my head. The other one is the other one. And I love those horses. But you'd never know it if you heard me talk about them like that. I'm so sorry, silver one and other one. Sorry I don't have better names for you. You deserve better names. I'm also sorry I'm bad at this. Anybody else have anything to say? Oh man. Okay. So who do we want to speak up? Ron can have something to say. Elmo was thinking about when those canned carrots showed up in the mail, or Rita didn't give them names because their names weren't ours to give. I like that one. The horses were here before us, you know. They came with the people from Central America. You know, the Utopians, the people of nothing. The people of nothing arrived by horseback in October, and their first experiment was to free the horses. That was generations ago, of people and horses. I don't know when we started calling them the neighbors. We should have called them the people, I think. They were the only consistent residents of this place for over 100 years, and now they're all gone. Who are the people now? Okay, so I guess we can get to both of these. I just want to say the horses used to crap on my floors, but it never bothered me too much. I never mentioned it to anyone. I didn't want to make a thing out of it. But if we're clearing the air, well, that happened and it's okay. I mean, recently too. I was cleaning up horse crap just a couple days ago. But I'm saying it was okay. It would have been okay if any of you wanted to crap on my floors. What? I just want to say that. I would have cleaned up after any of you if you crapped on my floor. Thanks, Ron. I've been sitting too much, gonna go lay down, but hit me up a little later. Have a fun stream. Thank you so much for hanging out, Kineticorn. I really appreciate it. I guess we'd better move on. Nikki, you ready? Okay. Yeah, Nikki can say thanks for sticking around, like Emily said. It's so good to have you all here. Or, well, the weather turned out okay today, didn't it? Yeah. I know some people had to leave already. I don't judge anyone for that. Or I think the neighbors would have liked this. Yeah, let's go with that one. Maya, you and our other visitors might not know about the out-of-towner. He came here to work for the company to dig a ditch. And the company worked him good and hard, and for less than he was worth, but it wasn't enough. They had to use him up completely. After that, we became ungovernable, first out of shame, then grief, then anger. Yeah, ooh, that feels super evocative. This poem is for the neighbors, but it's also for this town. Yeah, we're gonna bury this town today when we bury those horses. It's the same thing. We're gonna bury these horses, and what do you think will happen next? We'll all walk out in the woods to leave this place empty? No, I guess some of us might stay and build again. That's alright. It could be me. But to try is your birthright. If you do stay, you'll be building on top of a grave. But that's true anywhere. The whole world is built on top of graves. Look for me under your boot soles, as the fellow says. Nikki clears her throat and begins reading from the paper she's holding. Alright, we're about to get some poetry. We're about to write some poetry. Ooh, these are good. Okay. Alright, chat. If you have strong opinions about the poetry we should be writing, I want you to jump in super fast. Yeah, let's go with that. I think the grass will never grow again. Here where it grew so sweet. Now only clay will rise to meet the morning air. Who would eat grass now when our neighbors sleeping lay? Oh, I was really hoping we would get to write more poetry. That's a bummer. Close their eyes for a moment before continuing. Nikki directs her attention at Shannon, or Nikki's hands tremble a bit. Oh, we can make her emotional. Yeah. Our neighbors were the best of us, of course. Because they're a horse. It's always so. Our better selves, clear of ourselves, where we can see their glory glow. Glory glow. Wow, that's okay. They glow now underground, our friends with love. Okay, chat, do you have strong opinions? I have no will left now to comfort you, or our neighbors left us here, though not alone, or to greener pastures, we might say, but lie. Ooh. I feel like to greener pastures would be the Jeffrey answer, so that's the one I'm gonna go with. We do get to write poetry. Excellent. Okay. To greener pastures, we might say, but lie. So let me try instead to share your woe. But staring at the clouds my vision showed, or where friends have gone, we hope one day to go. Jeez, I guess, like, go with that one. Here where we lie, our town and friends to rest, in distant valleys, home to better friends, or below the earth in damp and torchlit caves. This one feels more like a reference to previous stuff in the game, so I'm gonna go with that one. And yeah, it's interesting because as this shifted over and the choices got more rapid and it became much more about the player selecting which choice they were going to go with in the poem, like my mindset as a player shifted more toward, oh, this actually could be about losing the protagonist of the story. And uh yeah, when we started this act, I wasn't sure if we were going to be rescuing him or how that was going to go. And now it's like I still am not sure, but it's like it feels like the game is moving this over to me as kind of a signal to me as the player that this is also a closure moment for the player too. Then we buried the horses. So yeah, it's super interesting.
I've heard of a land of joy and peace and wonderful life.
Oh, so pretty.
A beautiful place of mansions fair and skies so bright, where all who believe the Savior dear forever shall stay. And having been saved by grace divine, I'm going that way. I'm going that way. I'm going that way. Yes, dear, the Savior I adore is with me each day. I'm clinging to Him and never to stray, just singing praises all day long. I'm going that way. Well, glorious news I tell.
Oh, so
and
creepy
sing
with the ghosts
as
coming
onward
in.
I go. For those who are still astray in sin, my Savior may know. I want them to sing that praise above some beautiful day. For glory to Him who died for me, I'm going that way. I know I shall meet Him at the gate when trials are past. I know I shall meet Him face to face in glory at last. Oh, I believe that when we meet, well done, He'll say, while trusting that soul redeeming love, I'm going that way. I'm going that way. I'm going that way. Yes, dear, the Savior I adore is with me each day. I'm clinging to Him and never to stray, just singing praises all day long. I'm going that way.
Yeah, I'm so interested. I can totally move around here. But yeah, that was really beautiful. Both obviously it was a beautiful song, but just the sort of framing of that and kind of the ghosts coming in, like reminiscent of the town grieving, as they were sort of saying, and now everybody kind of just slowly walking away afterwards, which also is what happened with the town as well. And yeah, and the big long shadows, and I really love that transitional camera too, of how it kind of like slowly pans out, and as it goes upward, it gives you like this very wide view, sort of what feels like a very final kind of moment. Um, but yeah, interesting. And this is such a different camera angle of what we've had on the village so far. Very bird's eye. It was a pretty song, yeah. Yeah, creepy analog tunnel voices. So creepy. So one thing that the camera functionally does by changing also is we were previously able to come into the middle of the spiral and use that to just kind of look around at what else was out here. And now, from a design perspective, we actually have to explore. With the lighting change too, it changes the whole feel of the place. Now we're in Shadowland. Yeah, it absolutely feels that way. And looks like our party is gathered, but is not interactable. Ooh. Hello. Okay. Nope, this is normal. This is fine. Oh, wow. They did turn it into a little stage. Oh, A+, cat. So interesting. Okay. So to chat about that a little bit, I'm gonna move you over here, chat, so that I can talk to you. Yeah. What's interesting is that I'm definitely, I think, gonna need a little bit of reflection time before I have some finality and closure kind of comments. But one thing that I think is super interesting is that went a totally different direction from what my expectations as a player were, which is excellent considering the way the entire rest of the game has gone and has sort of followed more of a 5-act structure that we might expect from literature or theater than a 5-act structure we might expect from film or Hollywood. Which is to say, in the Hollywood model, we have that like the end of Act 4 ends so suspensefully and climactically that I expected Act 5 would be you know, okay, great, now we're gonna rally troops, make a rescue, it's gonna, you know, sort of start with a big battle. And it wasn't that. It was just entirely denouement, which, yeah, it's so rare for games to have a denouement be playable at all, but much less one that is so long, like a whole actual act, which you see in literature all the time. Like the denouement in literature is long comparatively, but just the pacing of that is so different and so interesting, and I absolutely love that as a player we weren't changing. I wasn't sure going into that if we were going to change, you know, the moment where we gather the party and then go off and do stuff. And no, instead it was just kind of more of, how do you as a party deal with grief, and how do you as a party deal with, you know, sort of like aftermath in general. And yeah, that was really interesting. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to reflect a little bit. The few things I pointed out though about, hypertext and its engaging with the traditions of hypertext, super cool, super interesting. Um, yeah, that stuff. Like, this is, one of the few games for me that I think, is of this style and is linear and would really reward replay. Like, I would absolutely love to replay this game just to experience, different ways of those characters being, I guess. And it's like this weird thing of it mattering, but it also not mattering. And by that, what I mean is that, as I said, it really didn't statefully change anything. Like, none of our choices really statefully changed anything. As a player, like, I'm going in now knowing the story, but the game is so experiential that, yeah, I absolutely feel like I could replay it again and have a different experience, even though most of the content I would see is largely the same. And that's pretty amazing and masterful for a linear narrative game, actually. Uh, and beyond that, I mean, it also has the, you know, the sort of like, I don't know, like the Inception quality of there feeling like layers of references and layers of meaning that, would absolutely reward replay and seeing content more than once. So, yeah, that was really beautiful. I'm glad I finally finished it. I put it off forever because I kind of didn't want it to be over. So maybe me committing to replay it is just a further extension of me not wanting it to be over. But it's a game that I am absolutely thrilled exists. I am so glad that it has seen the success that it has, because it's really inspiring for me as a dev to have things that feel like they're trying to say something. They're really actively cerebral. They're really actively engaging with, like a canon, I guess, and in some ways critiquing that canon. And I love that. And I love that not only does that game exist, but that game exists and found like critical and reasonably commercial success. That's amazing. So yeah, I find this work really, really, really inspirational. So yeah. Cool. But let's see who's online for us to raid. Raiders, thank you so much for those of y'all that stuck around. You're amazing. Really, really glad to see you guys. Let me see. Crazy Legumes, I haven't seen in a really long time. And so he does development streams and is a fun character. So let's maybe head over and give his channel some love so we get there.
It's a gas card.
Sorry. Okay, and I will catch you guys on the other side of the raid. Give him some love and a follow when we get there. Thank you guys so much. I will see y'all later.